All right, chapter tests. Chapter tests are required for this class and are really important to make sure that you're understanding the material. There will be 5 proctored exams throughout the course worth 100 points each. Now, I did have to, like I said before, kind of modify this temporarily because we're not quite sure how we're going to do the proctoring this semester. But we need to be prepared for either way. You need to make sure that you're able to possibly come in person to GCC's testing center to take the tests and or possibly be proctored using ProctorU. Like I said, as soon as I get the final word on the testing situation, I will let you know as soon as possible so you can make arrangements. But if it is in person, you need to make sure that you make arrangements to come to the testing center. If it is with ProctorU, you need to make sure that you have a webcam, a video camera, a microphone, and all the necessary technology in order to complete this exam using ProctorU. Make sure that you go into the announcements and check your technology if you have not yet to make sure that you have it all. If you don't have it all, you need to make sure that you get it or you choose a different course. Remember that Chromebooks are not compatible with ProctorU, so you will need to use something besides a Chromebook if we're doing ProctorU. If you cannot meet these requirements, whether we have to go in person for the tests or ProctorU, you will get a 0 for your exam. Exams are worth a lot of points in this class and a majority of the grade, so that will hurt you drastically if you cannot meet these requirements. So if you know right now that you cannot meet these requirements, you need to make sure that you find another class where you can do the tests that they require. Okay? So make sure that you can do all that so you can get full credit for your exams. Now, exams need to be taken in the testing window that I provided and by the due date. I do not have extensions for exams, so it's really important. You have a lot of time to take them. You need to make sure that you make arrangements to take them by the due date. Okay? Make sure that you check Canvas for the due dates. There's also in the calendar, so make sure that you are aware of those. Okay? Now, while you're taking the exams, it is required that you show all of your work for all problems on a separate sheet of paper. You will not get credit for your test if you do not show work. Let me repeat that. You will not get credit for your exam. You will get a 0 if you do not show your work. I am not just looking for answers. I am looking for work along with answers. So it is really important to me that you're showing me all of your work as you go through the exam. It has to be completed within 5 minutes of completing the exam. You cannot finish your exam and then submit your work 30, 40, or 3 hours later, okay? It is really important that you submit it within 5 minutes, or again, I cannot give you credit for your exam. So as you're taking your exam, please take out a separate sheet of paper. Make sure that you label each of your questions in order. Make sure that I can clearly follow all of your work, and make sure that you show all of your work for each problem. This is very important because I don't want to have to be the bad guy later on and give you a 0 for your test and then there's no options of retaking it. So please make sure that you show all of your work, you're clear, you're organized, and that you submit it within 5 minutes of completing the exam so that I can give you credit. Okay? What I'm trying to use this for is to give you not only full credit, but I'm also trying to give you partial credit. If you miss a problem and you enter it wrong in my math lab, there might be credit that I can still give you back. You might have done step 1 through 4 correctly, but maybe you made a mistake on the last step. Well, at least I can give you 4 points out of 5 instead of a 0 out of 5. But the only way that I can give you back partial credit is if you clearly show all of your work. And the only way I can give you full credit, make sure I know you know how to do the whole problem and not just put in your calculator and have your calculator do it, is by showing me all of your work. So for full credit or partial credit, all of your work needs to be shown. If your work is not submitted within the time frame above, if it's unclear, if it's incomplete, again, you will not receive credit for your whole entire test. So please make sure that you do this. It's very important. I have students every semester not follow the rules or the requirements. They get a 0 and it hurts their grade drastically for the whole rest of the semester. Okay? All right, now every student has the opportunity to earn extra credit by completing the chapter review in MyMathLab with at least an 80% before taking the exam. So I've created a review for each chapter that you should be able to get into MyMathLab and do as many times as you need to, but at least with an 80% before taking the exam. As long as you do this before taking the exam, I'll give you extra credit on your exam. Now, I don't tell students necessarily how much extra credit because I honestly don't decide that until after I'm done grading everybody's test. So what I do is I grade everybody's test, I look at the class average, and I kind of decide from there how much extra credit I think you deserve for doing the review. So it's kind of like a curve. If you do the review, you get the curve of the class. Now, no exam will be given late without prior approval. So please do not email me the day of the exam or a couple hours before it's due and say that your technology didn't work or you had babysitting issues or your car broke down or whatever it might be. Please make sure that you plan ahead so that there aren't any issues, or if there are, you have time to reschedule exam before the due date. If you know that you cannot make the due date, you need to let me know far in advance so that we can make arrangements. If you do not notify me of your situation in advance, you will not receive credit for your exam. So please make sure that you're aware of that. Okay, now unfortunately there are no exam retakes. That means you only have the one opportunity. So if you don't take the test by its due date, you get a 0 and there is no way to retake it. If you don't show your work, you get a 0 and there is no way to retake it. So it's really important that you make arrangements to take it early in case there's any issues, that you do the best you can by reviewing beforehand, and that you show all of your work so you can get all of your credit that you deserve. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions about chapter tests. They are very, very, very important.